to infinity and beyond.
Everyone, Roger and James here from the DisKingdom podcast. In this episode, we're going to be giving our thoughts on Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is kind of like an early review because over the weekend it was available on EA Access, their subscriber program. So you can play up to 10 hours. I think I'm about 7 or 8 hours into it. And we were even playing some online player one night, though unfortunately my wife was asleep, so I was on mute. So we were having a bit of just running around and seeing what was going on. So it's this is a really odd release system, isn't it? It's like early access or beta, second beta, early access for pre-orders, and then finally on Friday this coming week it's going to be released. So very staggered out, but it's been kind of quite nice. But it's been a bit weird playing on the Xbox. I haven't played on that for a while. But what was your initial sort of first impressions of this game?
In terms of, say, the multiplayer gameplay, which was the first bit we really got into, it had its good parts, had its bad parts. We did some Starfighter Assault, which I enjoyed quite a bit because I love flight sim, combat sim games. The controls are a little wonky. I know that they're like what Battlefront 1 had, where you control with the right stick and your power and thrust is with the left stick, which is very awkward. It took some getting used to. And then we did some ground-based combat, and it was pretty typical stuff. No real complaints when we're talking about the gameplay side of things. And I think that from that perspective, it's quite a bit of fun. I wish there'd been a little more emphasis on squad tactics, and the whole squad system, the way I have it set up, is just strange. Very, very strange.
I mean, for me personally, definitely feels like an upgrade. It definitely feels like an upgrade of the previous game. It looks better. I think it does play a little bit better. It's a little bit in terms of the. I know. I just feel like I'm having a little bit more. I was having a little bit more fun with how the jumping in. Maybe because I played a little bit of Battlefront in the last week, just kind of get warmed up. But generally, I felt quite good about it. There's been a few little technical issues here and there. I mean, I find the load times extremely sluggishly slow. Maybe if I had an Xbox One X, that was the way that it was going to try and speed it up. But generally, it feels a bit sluggish getting around the menus and stuff. Once I'm in the game, well, it's. I've only had a couple of little glitches, but that's to be expected. But yeah, I mean, generally that's been good. I've really been enjoying actually the arcade mode. That's where I went through all of the Dark Sith missions last night, and I know I'm going to be doing them again because obviously the game comes out for me tomorrow. I've got my deluxe edition. It's already pre-installed on my PlayStation 4 Pro, on my PS4, because I didn't decide to go with the Pro in the end because I figured let's be a sensible adult and not spend that money that I didn't need. It's all installed.
Sensible married adult.
Yeah.
Sensible single adults like myself spent the money anyway.
Yeah, I was imming and ahhing over it really badly, but in the end I went with the digital version. So I know it's installed on my PS4, ready to go tomorrow, and so literally that's going to be my game definitely for the rest of the week. Playing about the single player campaign, I only got up to the point where Urso escapes, basically like the first mission, because I didn't want to go too far into it, because I don't want to play it all again, because that's going to be the thing I'm going to jump straight into, is going to be that single, because that's the one thing from this game that I am really excited about. The graphics looks great, the story looks good. We've both read that novel, so that single player stuff is what I am really excited about.
Yeah, I did basically the same thing you did. That wasn't planned, but I ended up doing the Dark Side arcade mode. Very impressed with the Iden Versio hero character. Her weapon kit was a lot of fun to play with, which is why it's so annoying that she's a character you have to buy in the multiplayer. We'll come back to that. And I did up through the first mission because I'm also going to be playing it on a different system. I'm actually going to be playing it on PC because first-person shooters for me, I control much better with a mouse and keyboard than with controllers. But overall, from the single-player side, the story looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're looking at maybe 5 to 6 hours. They're a little bit longer if you want to go for the collectibles. And then the arcade mode is fun. I enjoyed those missions, and I enjoyed the custom arcade mode, but it's not an in-depth system. It's not something like the original Battlefront 2, where I think you can just keep going back to it over and over and over again and really repeat it the way you would do like a multiplayer game, but if you're not a multiplayer gamer like with bots or something like that, which is how I used to play the original Battlefront 2.
I mean, I did a custom one last night of like 100 characters within 40 seconds, and I was Ray, and I only got halfway before, and that was quite a bit of a challenge. And obviously with the arcade, you can go. I only did tier 1. It's just still tier 2, tier 3. I still feel like I'm kind of in the play mode. But I love the fact with the arcade that it feels like, and I like, that was the main bit I liked about the first game, was because it's so much more forgiving. It's so much more fun because, I mean, when you're stomping around as Darth Vader and you're just slaughtering people in full mass, it's just fun. And and when you are a normal trooper and you can get hit and shot, and you can, because that's. Whereas when you're playing the multiplayer, you're both dead, and like that's the thing for like casual players. I think that's what we need. We needed that kind of offline mode to kind of let us play and enjoy it, and I think EA have learned that the old multiplayer stuff is what keeps the game going, but casuals need that single player. I mean, they did it with Titanfall 2. They ended up bringing that in. Battlefield, Call of Duty, the single player stuff is just as important. It might not have as many hours in the long run, but for us, maybe casual players, this is what we need.
It gives you that slightly extra value that if you're going into it, you might pay more for it than you would for a 5 or 6 hour campaign on its own. If you're looking at this from a single player perspective, it does add value, and hopefully they'll add more options to this as it goes on, because right now, other than the pre-created arcade missions, there's only like 2 custom arcade missions that you can do now. There's a lot of options you can adjust for those, but you're really just playing the same thing over and over again. And this, as I said to you while we were playing earlier this week, is this desperately needs a Starfighter Assault mode, because Starfighter Assault as an arcade mode, there's a lot of possibility there, and you're fighting against half bots anyway whenever you're on. Yeah, you join a squadron and you got like FN 212 and FN, and it's like okay, so those are clearly bots.
No, well, see, I have a feeling that first off, EA access is limited. I think this is going to be like Battlefront 1, or the PS4 or the last version, where they start releasing modes and maps and content for the next 6 months to a year to keep getting people going back in to buy the stuff. Because I'm feeling very much like there's not a lot of maps, there's not a lot of... the modes seem to be a lot lighter than in the last game. I mean, there's only looked to be like 5 things in multiplayer. It definitely feels to me like a bit like with Battlefront. If you took Battlefront from day one and compared it to Battlefront after Rogue One was released, it was 2 separate games. And I have a feeling that's what's going to happen with this one.
Well, I mean, if that is the case, they really need to kind of mention that. They need to give a better roadmap than what they've got. Yeah, they posted a roadmap and they said, The Last Jedi content comes on December 13th or whatever day it was. I think it was the 5th or the 13th, one or the other. And, there'll be challenges coming out at this point, but we need roadmaps more on, like... These are when more modes are coming. These are when maps are coming. Additional stuff will be added to arcade here. Because I don't think they're like really holding back on the EA access. Yes, the single player is restricted because if you had 10 hours in the single player, you could finish the single player, which is the opposite of what they want. But I don't think that compared to the launch, which is this coming Tuesday, we've got everything that the launch is going to have. Now, what you're talking about, of course, they're going to add stuff, as time goes on, and it's free this time, which is great. It's all subsidized by the costs of those glorious loot crates that everyone universally loves and adores, and they're just jumping for glee. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
No, the opposite of that.
Yeah, reading, I've been following a lot of like the Star Wars Battlefront game changers. They're the kind of the ones that got picked out by EA for being in their program, and there's a lot of discussion about like progression of characters, getting the unlocks for the things, getting the heroes that you've got to unlock, and they're finding it. There's that kind of balance of trying to get those credits to get those heroes unlocked and then played as, but also how few credits they. I mean, for us, we were doing matches and I'm getting like 100 credits. It's I have, and I will be completely honest at this point, I have taken the multiplayer. I've almost got this game in 3 separate sections. It is multiplayer, arcade, and solo. And the multiplayer, I'm not going to become a hero. I'm not going, unless I'm playing heroes versus heroes. And if I want to, that's the only way I'm going to get to play as any of the heroes. I'm not going to buy any of the crates. I'm not interested in leveling up my characters. I'm not into. Every game is the same for this. I hate that whole concept of leveling up. Let me get in there and play it. So I'm not going to bother with that. I'm not going to be buying any loot crates. I'm not going to be buying worrying about if Finn becomes available as a character, unless he's in Heroes Challenges or in the arcade. That's the only way I'm going to play him, because I have got zero opportunity, and that's probably a bad. At least with those credits, you used to be able to run off and find them, but this credit system, it's not going to work for me.
Yeah, I mean, for context, for anyone who hasn't played, you get 100 to, I don't know, I think the highest I ever got was like 230 in a game. You need a minimum of, what is it, 1,200 to get the lowest level of loot crate. I might have that number a little bit off. Then you can have a specialized crate for 2,400, which I think is the Starfighter crate. And then there's the 4,800 crate, which is for the Trooper. And obviously you spend most of your time in ground assault mode, so Trooper's the most important. And then on top of that, some heroes are locked completely behind these credits, and they cost like 60,000 credits, some crazy number. And we're talking guys like Rey, Iden Versio, the characters, and there is a definite power imbalance between what the heroes are. We played a game where I was Han Solo, you were Lando, we had Yoda and Rey on our team, and Yoda and Rey were miles better than we were, and we were facing off against Darth Maul, among Boba Fett, Bosk, and then there was one other.
Kylo Ren, isn't it, as well?
Oh, Kylo Ren, that's right. And if you or I, if we got into a fight with Kylo or Darth Maul, you might as well just put your controller down, because it was ridiculous. Now, if we teamed up and there were 2 of us or 3 of us fighting them 3-on-1, then yeah, sure. But 1-on-1, Lando and Han got murdered.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like in that game, I mean, we literally were. I found that unless you stood back, you had to basically shoot them from afar, because that was your only shot of getting anything near them. And because of the way they were jumping around and having the force, I felt like we spent the entire time running after everyone, because they're off like superheroes, jumping off like Hulk and Captain America, jumping from building to building, and we're just like running around like, oh, come back.
Especially the last one. There was 1 life left on each side. Darth Maul was theirs on their side. Han Solo, who I was playing, on our side. And it was literally just us running around in circles, in giant circles, being like, who's going to catch the other? Now, they caught us first and killed Han Solo, but that wasn't fun at all. They need to make some changes to that.
I spent at least 5 minutes running after Kylo Ren. Of course, it was like, because he was leaping over stuff. Of course, I had to go all around the bridges. The only good thing is, when I did play as Darth Maul on that same, was it Camaro map? I kept jumping into the ocean and dying. At least with Lando, I didn't actually die from falling into the sea. But that I do like that hero versus villains, because, like I said, it's the only chance we get to play as these characters for me, and I do like that's in there.
Yeah, it's much harder to get the ground heroes in regular play now, unlike the original Battlefront, where you had to pick up tokens and then you would turn into it. So it became a rush to see who could get to the token first. This one, you build up points throughout the game, and you can choose to spend them on advanced characters like Flame Troopers and Kylo Ren and all this stuff. And these are the ones you have to unlock. Some are unlocked by default. Others you've got to pay the in-game currency for. I do appreciate that, because it does mean that, like, in theory, you could end up with a special character, and you don't have to fight about it. Of course, it can only be one at a time, but they tend to die a little bit faster this time around.
Yeah.
I did get to play as both Red 5 and Black 1, which is Poe Dameron's ship, in Starfighter Assault, so that was fun. But of course, if you crash, you're still dead. Yeah. There's no like bouncing off, which is fine. That's the way it should be. But the hero ships die much faster than heroes on the ground.
No, I mean just as a whole, I mean I've really enjoyed playing it the last 4 nights I've been playing, or last 3 nights I've been playing it. I know I'm going to be playing it for at least a week, because we have got Lego Marvel coming out at the end of the week as well. So it's kind of that's why I'm kind of glad I've got like 3-4 days to play earlier. But yeah, it's definitely one of those situations of, I think there can be lots of tweaks going on. As a non-major multiplayer person, that stuff doesn't. I just want to play. The single player and the arcade is going to be the things that's going to bring me in. Yes, okay. So I've paid for the deluxe edition because I want the extra bits and pieces. Because I might as well do that and sort it out. But I think for me as well, like the concept of, is this a game I'm going to spend the next 6 months every single night playing multiplayer mode and becoming the greatest shooter of all time? No. I will be jumping in and out of it when they get these new seasons, because I think they're going to be running seasons and adding new characters, and I expect new modes and new maps and all the rest of it. Their plan is to, because in order to keep the community engaged, they're going to need to constantly drip feed content. I think last time when they did the 4 seasons, it didn't work as well, so they're trying a different tactic because they want us to upgrade to buy stuff. And I don't know. It's a bit of an odd. I think not having a season pass, at least before you could kind of unlock them and get going, but the new maps and stuff, I think there is going to be it seems like we've not got enough maps for the amount of worlds we've got at the moment. Right,
and that was true of Battlefront 1 as well. So, I'm not expecting there to be any real problem with maps in the long run. No. Yes, it's a little skimpy on the beginning, but as we saw with Battlefront 1, you mentioned earlier, there was a lot added to the game, and I'm looking forward to that. And this time we don't have to pay for them, which is good because that really segmented the Battlefront 1 population. Now, the reason we don't have to pay for them is going back to the star cards, and every person in this game is going to have to make that decision of whether or not they want to support this loot crate system. Obviously, we can't force people to not buy loot crates, but we can strongly encourage them to not do it, because if this is successful for EA, on the one hand, great, it's successful because we get more content, we get the other content subsidized by these costs. On the other hand, it sets a really bad precedent. It's already terrible in mobile games. The transition that we have seen over the last 6 months, let alone like years, has been awful. Yeah. And getting into games that you're already paying $60 for is really dangerous territory.
I must admit, that's the one thing. At the end of the day, everyone's going to make their own decision of what they're doing. For me personally, I will only use the free crates. And then this is going across all games. I don't want to play this game of microtransactions and stuff. I'd rather, at least with the season pass for the first game was quite expensive. It was nearly the same price as the game, and whether or not that was arguably too much, I don't know. But even like Marvel vs. Capcom recently, we had the season pass, and then they threw out 100 characters that weren't included in it, and I was like, no, I'm not buying it. I'm not. You've had enough off of me. The game was full price, and within 3 weeks you're already selling it at a quarter of the price I paid for it, and you want me to buy some more stuff? No, you're done. You had your gut shot. I'm not paying you any more money. This game is going to be interesting because I've paid £80 for it. I bought the deluxe edition. That's enough for me. That's a premium product. I paid the premium price for the deluxe edition. That to me feels like I should get my value worth out of that, but I'm not going to be sinking in. Battlefront 1 cost me about £100 by the time I brought the main dish, the deluxe edition plus the season pass. That's okay, that's the thing, but I'm not going to be going down that rabbit hole, and I'd probably say to everyone else, don't do it. And I'd say that in all games, because if you do it now, we're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives. if we don't kind of act responsibly now.
Well, we'll be doing it for the next couple of years, and then the next predatory trend will come along. I mean, even a couple of years ago, people were going, "Don't buy season passes; they're awful." And I can't argue with that, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, "Oh God, please bring back the season passes; they're better than this."
Yeah.
So
yes, I'm sure this is going to be a discussion we're going to have lots, but it does feel like personally, put the game price up and try and. But they want these live services, and this is what this game is. But as of right now, Star Wars Battlefront early access has been great. I've really enjoyed it. I still wonder how this EA access thing. It doesn't seem like it's a. There's a lot of content in there for $3.99 a month or £20 a year. I'm going to be cancelling it the minute I've got the game come through anyway, because I've got so much to play at the minute. But I did look through and go, there's quite a lot in here to play, and there's lots of old games in the vault that. So it's actually quite a good little bargain if you've got little kids or anything, and you want to maybe not kids, but if you haven't got a lot of money for gaming, £20 for a year, this looks like this might be a good little option to kind of jump in and pick up lots of classic games.
Yeah, and I've actually been using it for several years because I tend to pick up or play the NHL and FIFA franchise games, but I don't necessarily play them a lot.
Yeah.
But being able to, I don't really track them anymore, so being able to play with the most up-to-date characters doesn't matter to me. So I'll play last year's FIFA and NHL, which are both always included in the vault. And for me, it's like, yeah, totally worth it. And then we get these early access things to Battlefront 2. I played it for the first Battlefront, but it for Battlefield 1. It's a great little preview program, and I'm totally down with it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Definitely I definitely feel like I got my £4 worth anyway. Even just for 4 nights, I feel like that's almost like a game. It's almost like a rental. It just kind of it's good. So obviously, what we're going to do is we're going to be playing this game this week. Next week, we're going to do a much more. We'll go into maybe a little bit more into single player and stuff, and kind of give our next take. So definitely one there. We'll love to know your thoughts if you have been playing it over the weekend as well. Let us know in the comments below. As per usual, check us out over at DisKingdom.com, and if you are there, add us to your RSS feeders, add us on Facebook or Twitter to keep up with all the latest news from the website. It is kind of a kind of major thing of just for us of, if you follow us on all the different things, you'll get all the notifications and stuff that way. Obviously, if you're watching or listening, you can subscribe or like on whichever platform you are watching or listening. If you're on the iTunes version, feel free to leave us a review. That would be very nice as well. So, James, where can they find you?
Find me heroiclegacy.com.
And on that note, guys, so thank you very much for joining us. May the force be with you.
And also with you.